Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of Never Alone Live. With you, as usual, I'm Johnny, and we have Krista, Sober Barbie. Today's going to be kind of an interesting one because it's just Krista and I. It's kind of get to know your hosts, and this should be a lot of fun. What we're going to do today is we have prepared a few questions for one another that we're going to ask each other, and then we're going to open it up for comments. And we have a lot of friends that come on here, and we told them that that they're going to be able to comment, and we're going to answer any questions that they have. So this should be an interesting day. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's always interesting in the recovery world. I mean, we do all have a past, so nothing's really a surprise to me anymore. So.
Nothing surprises us anymore. And why don't you know what? Let's take the time. We'll introduce ourselves for people that have never watched us and stuff like that. You want to jump in? Do a little intro.
I am Krista, a grateful recovering alcoholic, and I just celebrated 10 years sober in August. And I got sober in jail and then went to rehab and loved rehab. And I loved the 12 steps and I loved recovery. And I couldn't wait to come home until I felt accomplished. I felt like I had purpose. So I came home and started recovering really loud back then 10 years ago. And I didn't know anyone sober. And I started to become a safe place in my community because I was just very loud, and people felt safe enough to come to me and ask me like where to go to treatment and meetings and stuff like that. And then I started TikTok during COVID, being a new mom, and my husband was struggling, and I kind of went viral overnight. And then he got sober, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a platform. So I've been consistently making videos and posting on social media for 5 years, and now we've gotten this cool little community, and I love it so much. And it brought us together, and then all the people in the comments I've met and become friends with, and it's been a wild ride, and I love it. And the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. That's what a great, I'm telling you. So today we're going to keep this real positive, and we're going to ask each other a couple questions. We're going to field some questions from the comments, and this is going to be so much fun. You guys can ask anything you want, and Krista will answer it. And we've got friends joining us already. Katie's here, and Brandy's here, and Kelly, and Divine Love. What's happening? Is that Kashana? Kashana, it's a pleasure, Kashana. And then our friend Tiffany. Tiffany has been on every single Never Alone Live, and we're so glad you're here. You want to hear? So I'm Johnny. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I will celebrate 22 years in January. So I have 21 years of continuous sobriety. I've never found the need to pick up since my very first drink. And Krista is as well, what the sober community calls a one-chip wonder, meaning I've never had to return a chip. So that's me. And we've prepared a few questions for one another. So we'll ask each other a question. Here, we'll do this. We'll ask each other one question. We'll answer it, and we'll probably both answer it. And then we'll go to comments, and then we'll come back. And I've got a couple questions. I think they're a couple doozies. So here's a good one. You ready for this one?
Am I?
Yeah. What's the best thing you've learned about yourself since finding recovery?
That I am dependable. So for so long, I mean, I come from a large family. I feel like I was a great family, but I'm the oldest of 5. And for like most of my life, it was I've been thinking about this recently too. I was kind of like not shut out, but it was hard to get attention. There was a lot of us kids and stuff. So I never felt like I was like taken seriously. And I mean, I think I am a little funny, but I always felt like I was like the joke almost, like in a way. And now that like since these last 10 years, people take me seriously. Like the mayor will listen to me, the chief of police will listen to me, people from my past will listen to me. And I have more to offer than just being like the class clown
Hmm.
in a way.
That is a great answer. You know, finding so I when asking these questions, I started thinking about it myself. And what's the best thing that's happened to me since finding recovery is I truly found my purpose. Right? I when we're out there and our self esteem is at the lowest. I don't know what the hell I want to do, who I'm going to be, what I should be, yada yada. Coming to recovery gave me purpose. It made me useful again. And helping others, especially helping others in recovery, is my favorite thing in the world. And watching people recover and seeing them get more and more days has been the truest joy in my life. Next to watching my kids grow, watching my friends get 9 days and 10 days and 20 days and 2 months and 2 years, and then them not having a higher power and then them teaching a higher power to someone else. It's amazing. It really is. So, coming to recovery, I got a purpose, and it's been amazing. Okay, so your turn.
What are some of the unexpected blessings that came in long-term recovery?
The unexpected blessings that came in long-term recovery. It's 24 hours a day, right? And you just keep going and you just keep going. And your 24 hours add up and they add up until next thing you know, you're an old man and your beard is gray. And I'm telling you, this thing used to be so dark brown. And, but the blessings that have come, there's hundreds and hundreds, my relationship with God, my higher power, how it's evolved over the years. You want to talk? So, I mean, I came into this program spiritually bankrupt. I didn't have a God. I didn't want to have a God. No, thank you. And, now because of open mindedness, because of willingness and getting outside of myself and changing, I have found religion and I am a Christian, and I am now a follower of Jesus Christ. And I was baptized January 5th of this year. And and I'm on the worship team, and I sing for my church, and it's amazing being able to give back there. Because I'm telling you, when I went to church, I felt the energy. I felt the energy from the worship team, and it energized me. So now when I get to be on stage, I give all of my energy because I want to give it away the same way it was given to me. Just like the program, right? We give it away to keep it, and it's so rewarding. So, but if you'd have told me 2 years ago, when I was 19 years sober, that I was going to be baptized or that I'd be singing Christian music or I'd be listening to Christian music in my car, I'd have told you you're a crazy person. But here I am, right? And these are the gifts, the open-mindedness that's led to the evolution of my higher power. That's a great question. That's a great question. What about you? What are the
Um,
gifts that you can't say the same answer? You can't. I already answered it.
it's pretty close though, but that I wasn't I should be thinking of that as my first, but that is a big one. I was baptized in April. Um, and I didn't think there was a lot of things I was still like stuck on in long-term recovery, like my anger and like there was just so many you could say character defects or shortcomings or and they're being lifted off of me because I've put more into my relationship with God. But my biggest blessing, well, first off, in rehab, I think when I started reading the AA book, seeing that there's promises, that's like what kept me reading. I'm like, what? There's promises, like you're gonna promise me, and like I hold promise, like I'm gonna hold you to it. and they weren't wrong. And because that's a big word, to promise something. And I used to make promises and they never happened. I let so many people down. So, but my biggest one is I always wanted to be a mom, and I got sober at 29, and a lot of my friends had kids in their 20s, and I didn't, at this point, I just didn't think I was going to be able to be a mom. And I ended up falling in love and getting married and becoming a mom of two, and not just being a mom, but my kids have never seen me drink. And they don't ever have to see me be crazy, like crazy Krista. And one of my nieces too has never seen me drink. I have a 16-year-old niece that I don't know if she remembers a lot of it, but like I was crazy with her, like crazy. And I can just see the trauma that some of these kids witness, and I see it today too. And some like people I know, or just there's so many sad situations that kids are put through, and my kids don't have to go through that. And I know how to protect them, and I think being a sober mom is one of the best blessings that I got.
Amazing.
And
All
being
right.
a wife, and
And
being a
being
wife, of course.
and being a wife. All right. So we've got a lot of people in the comments, and so we're asked today. Krista and I are. We've asked each other a couple questions, and we're answering. And we've asked. Give us a question in the comments. We're going to answer any questions, and we've got a couple of good ones in here already. But before we get to that, our buddy Mike is in here. Mike is from soberhats.com. If you see my hat, if you see Krista's hat, they say sober period. They also can say clean period. And what's the ones that he has for
Sober ally.
sober ally? So even if you're not in recovery and you want to support and recover out loud, then boom, this is the guy for you. So
And zero proof. Zero proof.
So we're going to give away 3 hats today. We're going to give away 3 hats today. So the first hat is, and so what we need you to do is we're going to email Mike. Email Mike, and you got to email Mike the key phrase. Brandy, I know you don't like this one, but bear with me. We're gonna be giving away a few hats. So the first person to email Mike that Krista is smarter than Johnny. All you got to do is email Mike at Mike's email address, which is soberhats@gmail.com. There he is, soberhats@gmail.com. First person to email Krista is smarter than Johnny wins the first hat. And we're gonna have fun today. This is super positive today. And so Mike, let me know who the first winner is. And this is gonna be fun. Okay, so have you read any of the questions in the comments?
Some of them. I'm scared to press any buttons on here. What's your favorite saying from AA? Like a cliche one.
Who asked that?
Amber Lynn.
Amber Lynn.
Ember.
Okay.
It's Ember.
Yes. What's your favorite AA NA cliche that secretly hits hard every time? Keep it simple, one day at a time, yada yada. That's a great one. What's yours?
I kind of have 2, because one that's like really short and one that's kind of a little long. Faith over fear. I have to like remind myself all the time, like just your faith is stronger than your fear. You gotta just get out of the fear mode. But faith without works is dead. That's really my favorite quote.
Faith without works is dead. That's a good one.
Work in.
That is a good one. Jeff Vickers, are you still here? Jeff Vickers was in the comments for a few minutes. Jeff wrote a book, and I have my copy. Oh, an actual physical book. Jeff Vickers. It's called Believe, Behave, Become. He sent me a PDF, so I've already gotten to read it, and it's a great book. Everybody should go out and get it and follow Jeff Vickers. So my favorite is my favorite NAAA cliche is keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. I actually have it tattooed on me. and right here.
Oh,
And keep on keeping on was one of my grandmother's sayings. My grandmother, of course, was 26 years sober when I got into the program, and she was my everything. And she told me, keep it simple, stupid. And she told me, keep on keeping on. She would write me cards for all of the, like, your birthday and Christmas or Valentine's Day, Easter. She gave me cards for all these things. And it always said Johnny, and then it said love grandma, and it always said keep on keeping on, keep it simple.
oh,
So now, whenever I'm on Facebook, and I've got a big recovery community on Facebook. Whenever somebody puts in their sober date, and talks about their anniversary, it's congratulations, so proud of you. Keep on keeping on, and I spread that message, and it's been extremely wonderful, extremely wonderful. And the winner of the first hat is Amber Leonardo.
is that Ember?
That's Emberlyn. This is one of our friends from TikTok, and she is the winner of this
Yay.
first hat. So we're gonna give away 2 more hats. The next hat we're gonna have a contest in a few minutes. But the third hat is the person that comes up with the best question today in the comments. The person that comes up with the question that Kristen and I both say, "Oh, that's a good one." That's how we're gonna rate this, by the way. So it's so Brandy, you better come up with a good question.
She
See,
said I'm the
Brandy, I
winner.
told you this is because Brandy is a little technologically challenged, and she ain't quick with the emails like other ones.
Too
Okay,
crazy.
so Katie, our friend Katie, asked the question a while back. How do you start reaching out to your community to spread the word? That's a big question. That's a big question. Krista, you are doing a phenomenal job of reaching out to your community and getting bigger, right? How have you gone about that?
Anytime I see an opportunity like an elected official or just anyone talking about anything addiction or recovery, that's my go-to. Like I'll do an email. I'll find out, like I'm a researcher, so I'll figure out their email, I'll figure out their phone number. I mean, what's the worst they could say is no. My first time going to a town hall meeting, I was asked because every state was awarded the opioid settlement fund some money, and then it's allocated to different towns and cities in your state, and they got a large amount, and then they get a smaller amount out of that every year. And your state should have a website that shows, like, there's proof, so they're held accountable too. They're not just taking the money and run. Well, they could be, but and the chief of police in 2023, yeah, 2023. No, wait, it was last year. I'm sorry, 2024, I think. He reached out to me and asked where we should put the money. And I was like, what? You want my opinion? Like, he actually came to someone who, because I post videos, I speak up. I'm always sharing my testimony, like on my Facebook and stuff. And I actually got the opportunity to go. And that was my first town hall meeting ever. And I recorded it and I posted it. It kind of went viral on TikTok. But after that, I learned, oh my gosh, everyone has a right to a public comment. So then I started going to all the communities around me, the county, and you get 3 minutes. And I would write it down because they do like a big basketball buzzer when it's up. Like, it's kind of intimidating. So I wanted to make sure I got everything I needed to be said. And I just kind of speak on what we need. And then after every meeting I've ever attended, I'll either get letters in the mail from people I've never met before that I don't even know how they get my address, but they do. Just congratulating me on my sobriety and thanking me for speaking up, because no one wants to talk about it. So it's your opportunity. Like, I've become friends with the Attorney General of South Carolina. Like, he's listened to me because I saw he had a fight against fentanyl, and I reached out, and then I got to meet him, and he gave me his phone number, and it was just very encouraging that they were listening to me. And then I just kept going more and more.
That's enormous. And we had a couple weeks ago, we had the chief of police from Charleston County, South Carolina, where they're seeing a 40% decrease in overdoses, which is amazing, right? Amazing. And he was on here and he was very straight up with us, and he told us, go talk to the chief of police. Go talk to people. They say they don't have time. They're full of shit. Go and talk to them, and talk to your chief, talk to the people in the community. Raise, just ask what they're doing with the opioid settlement funds. How are they doing what are they doing to combat, the different things going on in the community? Because we all get a voice. We all get a voice, and they need to listen. And Chief told us that. So I'm telling you that if you guys didn't watch that interview with Chief Christopher Rozier, he is awesome, and he actually responded to every single message in here. And he's gotten a bunch of messages that video got a lot of views, and he responded to so many messages. He's such a good person, and we're gonna have him on here again in the coming months. Okay, so one more question from here. Our friend Tiffany. Tiffany has been here every Never Alone live. I'm telling you, I love Tiffany, and now she's one of our. She's on our TikTok as well, and we go live on TikTok every morning, and a lot of people in here are our friends on TikTok that come over here and they're supporting us, and they want to ask Barbie all sorts of personal questions, and this is awesome. But Tiffany asks. What's one coping skill that has made the biggest difference for you guys? So, coping skills. I got, I have two. Well, there's a lot, right? We get feelings, right? The best thing about getting sober is you get your feelings back. Worst thing getting sober is you get your feelings back. Coping mechanisms. How do I cope with these feelings? And for me, it's meetings. I went to a lot of meetings. My first 2 years in recovery, I was at a meeting every day. And the phone, having a network of people, your sponsors, it's so important. But, having a network of people that I can call, and having a fellowship that I can learn how to be a new person from, that's awesome. And then lastly, of course, is prayer. And prayer is probably first on the list, because the first thing I do is I pray. Pause when agitated, pray, let God in the situation, and then I can go about my day. What about you, Krista?
Mine's kind of like yours, but it's talking about it. I used to not talk about any of things that were like really bothering me. I would be a complainer in my drinking days, but it wasn't like really what was going on. And we were talking about this earlier. It's really anything in life, not just recovery. Like I'm in recovery myself, but I love someone who has struggled. So loving an addict. I'm a stepmom, finding stepmom support groups, really any problem or any issue I'm going through, talking to someone who's been through it is probably the best way I can get through something. Because I hear a success story or a miracle happen, and it gives me hope. And it's like, okay, I can get through this. They got through it. I can get through it. And it's been the probably the best thing I've done is talking about what's going on. What is the question?
I'm reading some of the questions, and I like that some of them they're now directed to us. Katie Graham said, "How does self-esteem play a role in Barbie's recovery?" Okay, so you get to think about this for a second. So, how does self-esteem play a role in Barbie's recovery? And then Tiffany asked, and she even said, "Here's a good one. If recovery had an award show, what category would Johnny win?" So we'll come back to the award show because probably class clown. But I love that. What role does self-esteem play for you?
It's huge now, but it's still hard for me to take compliments. It really is. I get uncomfortable when people make me the attention, and I used to want the attention. I used to drink to get the attention. And now that it still makes me a little nervous because I think I'm still in shock that people that I am a good person, because I mean, I've been sober 10 years, but I'm 39 years old. There's 29 years that I was just not in active addiction the whole time, but I was like like as a child, I was like a lost child. So I really think that kids are busting in my room right now over there. Um Looking for iPads. But it's it means a lot to me now that I like people like me. I don't know. I have good self-esteem, but it still makes me I don't know. It's still uncomfortable. And one of our friends right here, Robert Worth, he's hype recovery. He talked about this not too long ago about like it's hard to hear compliments and stuff about yourself. It just, I don't know if that's just a natural thing or
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan either. Compliments don't do it for me. It's, it's like gratitude. Gratitude is an action word, right?
yeah.
If I'm grateful, I got to show that I'm grateful. I can't just say that I'm grateful. But self-esteem plays such a big part. And Katie actually came back in another question from Jayla. How does self-esteem play a role in Barbie's recovery and Johnny's? So no, I get asked that too. And self-esteem is so huge to talk about because when I came to the program, I didn't have any. I hated myself. I hated who I looked at I hated who I saw when I looked in the mirror, and it was horrible. And to get self-esteem, I have to do esteemable acts, and
Yeah.
I have to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. I have to do different things, and instead of all the bad stuff that I did and all the harms that I did, I have to look at those. I have to look at my resentments, my character defects, my flaws. Doing the steps are esteemable acts, and I like to make my bed every day, and I talk about this all the time. I make my bed every day, and I feel good every day, every morning. I get up, and I make my bed right away because that's what I think a man's supposed to do, and that's just my personal thought and feeling. But it makes me feel good, like I'm starting my day right. And we can do all sorts of little esteemable acts all the time. Holding a door open for somebody,
Mhm.
and doing it intentionally because I am trying to help someone and I'm trying to live a different life. These are all things that help with self-esteem. What do you think? Should we
I have a question from Brandy because I'm over here on TikTok too. She said she's on 3 devices trying to win this hat. Okay. My question: how do you keep the 12 steps vibrant in love and filled with hope in your life?
Oh, what's your answer on that one?
You gotta, it's a faith without works is dead. You gotta live it. You can't just, I've seen a lot of people through the years just do the book work, just write it down just because, but you get what you put into it. You gotta, you gotta do a daily surrender. You gotta like literally live the steps every day and be real and authentic about it and give it your all. And it does, like the promises, they're real. And they wouldn't put the word promise in that book almost 100 years ago if they didn't mean it, because they would be being sued probably.
Yeah. That then you got to give it a way to keep it is watching people watching people in recovery get recovery, watching the light come back in people's eyes. That's what keeps it fresh and vibrant. That's what keeps the spirit moving. Seeing God work through people's lives and seeing people change and seeing people get better and seeing people who acted out of anger and would not act out of anger anymore, seeing people accept and have patience and tolerance and actually living the principles and seeing those promises come to life. The 10th step promises, we recoil from it like a hot flame, and that's it's the way that it goes with alcohol and drugs. We meet these people that are new in recovery who are having a tough time, and the thoughts are in their mind and they're thinking about it. Oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? But eventually, after I do these steps, I recoil from it like a hot flame, meaning I don't even think of the idea. The idea isn't even the idea of should I or shouldn't I is gone. It's shouldn't I? I shouldn't do that. And I know that. And it's because I work the steps, but you can't have the 10th step promises until you do the 10th step, but we do the work and we see people, heal, and it's amazing, amazing, amazing. What do you say? We give away another hat. We'll do one more email to Mike. You can pick what people have to email. So this is the way we change it. This is how we do it. So whatever Krista says here, you have to email this to Mike. It's soberhats@gmail.com, and you email what Chris is about to say to Mike, and the first one to do it wins hat number 2.
First one to send their sober date to Mike wins a hat.
First one.
You don't like that?
Yeah, I'm reading. I'm trying to read comments too. We got a lot of comments. We got a lot of questions. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What a great question, Brandy Harris. Brandy's telling us that her question is a great question.
That was a good question.
Let's see, so pardon?
Sober date to Mike. He said, "Ready, set, go."
Ready, set, go. So the first person to send their sobriety date to Mike is the winner.
If you win twice, you have to send it to Brandy.
All right, so I have a great second question for Krista. So we came up with a few questions for each other, and this is one that I'm really kind of looking forward to the answer to. So this was a so my question, and I actually asked her this before. I shared this with her before, so it wouldn't be completely. Oh no, where did it go? This is, how has your recovery grown since going live every day, and recovery out loud in general? So since we've been doing this TikTok live every morning. Well, we've just paused weekends, but we were doing it every morning since 4th of July. That's 4 months. We've been at live every day. How has your journey changed? How has your recovery grown?
I'm talking about it more. I'm finding out more stuff about things I need to work on, or I'm learning so much about like other people's recovery. It's made my mind a lot more open, and like we're like worldwide. We have people from other countries, hearing people in England talking about what they're going through, and it's how universal it is, and it's grown so much. And I love recovery. I don't get sick of it. There's always room to grow, and it's really about healing. And I work a different program now, a faith-based program, so it's cool that people want to know more about that. And I love how many more friends I have now, and they're like real friends that care about me and have heard my worst moments, but love me so much. And there's so much compassion, and I don't have any judgment. I mean, you have some weird trolls that pop up every once in a while, but there's a block option. So that's very helpful. And if you don't like something, you can just leave. But I love the lives. It's keeping me a lot more accountable too, and consistent in things. And since we've been going live, I'm doing my steps. I'm actually facilitating a group in person. So that's really cool to have this going on in like technology world and then real life. And it's cool. It's cool.
I mean, your recovery out loud story is pretty awesome. I mean, we meet people all the time that tell us that they have been following you for years and years. They've been following you in your entire journey on social media, and that's got to be pretty awesome. That's got to be pretty awesome when somebody says, "Oh, I found you 4 years ago," and they're just reaching out to you today, and that's pretty dope, right?
That is cool. It's just, you never know who's watching, and that's why it's important to always be leading by example. My oldest child's about to be 6, and watching them, kids are like sponges, but adults are the same way. Like they're watching, and I mean, and it's important to be real and raw and not just all butterflies and rainbows, because it's not. We're human and things happen and we fall short. And um, it's crazy because TikTok really likes sad stuff. So you have to start with something sad to like hook them. But then the best part about recovery when someone finds it is there's always a happy ending. I mean, when someone finds recovery, there's a happy ending. So
You
you
know,
get it all, the
it's
thriller, the horror, and the happiness.
it's kind of amazing. So I'm not anonymous, right? And everybody around me knows that I am in recovery. I'm sober, and now joining up with you and doing this TikTok thing in the morning, I can honestly say that my I don't think my recovery has ever been stronger. You
Mm-hmm.
know, granted, we're on a meeting every day, and some of these meetings are an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we still jump into some more meetings later, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't think my spirituality's ever been stronger, because talking about God, talking about recovery, and actually being in the thick of it, is the key. All that other stuff is irrelevant. All the social media drama, all the trolls, all the stuff in the back end, it's all teaching me lessons.
Yeah.
It's all teaching me lessons, and it's giving me an opportunity to teach lessons. If someone is talking about me, you know, I am not going to get angry. I'm not going to. The book tells me I've ceased fighting everything and everyone, so I'm not going to fight. It doesn't do anything. And by leading by example, other people get to see that and see that. And one of our friends, Carly, I'm going to throw Carly's name out there. And Carly had an issue at work, and she had something going on, and she told me the next day, and she says, Johnny, I remembered what you do. And, pause when angry, when agitated, cease fighting everything and everyone. It doesn't do anything anyway. All it does is make everybody more angry and make the community more angry. And that's letting the devil win. So I don't do that. I don't do that. Today, where it's all about love and peace and joy and happiness, and we are free from that. We are free. I don't have to be angry. I get to be happy, joyous, and free today. And come here and listen to fun questions and give away hats and all that other stuff. Oh, we got to talk about Halloween. Halloween is this Friday. And we'll be live in the morning. And I want to have a Halloween costume contest. The winner, and I get to be the judge. The best costume contest. If the best costume who wins gets I'm going to buy them a Recover Out Loud hoodie. This is my Recover Out Loud hoodie. It's got my sobriety date on it. If you guys aren't following Recover Out Loud and Dan Harris, you're missing out. So that's on Friday, and I'll talk about it more again tomorrow morning. But figured I'd announce it now while everybody's watching. Costume contest on TikTok Live and Morning Miracles. Whoever wins, I'm going to buy a Recover Out Loud hoodie. It'll be awesome.
It's a good hoodie too. It's a good hoodie, and they have different patterns and stuff. The one I have has huge wings on the back, and my sober day, and it's the best quality. So Recover Out Loud. Do you want my question?
Yes. Well, but J Love, Jen Custer says, do you both do Recovery Out Loud within y'all's church community? Look at, she made me say y'all's church community. Yeah, I don't say y'all, but I'm reading it. Y'all's church community. If so, how? And I know you do, and I do as well. But how do you do that?
When I found out that I could do recovery at church 2 years ago, and they had childcare and they fed you, I was like, sign me up. And I went and I got the book, and I do Recovery Alive, which is kind of like Celebrate Recovery meets AA. The author, John Eklund, is a therapist, but got sober through AA, worked on the board of Celebrate Recovery, and during COVID wrote this book. And it's a 12-step process. So good. And it's popping up in churches all over America. And I got the opportunity to go to their convention in February. It changed my life. Seeing they had a motorcycle ministry there called Broken Chains. These guys had motorcycle vests on that said, I love Jesus. Their sober dates. I carry Narcan. I'm like, this is so cool. All walks of life. And then the pastor who's not in recovery, but talked about all where his shortcomings were and that he wasn't perfect. And it was a church revolution. It's just really cool because I love AA. I love it, but I wasn't able to say exactly who my higher power was in there. So now I can claim Jesus out loud. And it's a movement. I mean, Jesus is all over TikTok now. So, and I don't get any hate for it. And actually, my numbers have gone up since I talk about my faith too on social media.
Yeah, that's and talking. I see, like I said, we was talking about before, recovery out loud. You know, I talk about my recovery everywhere I am, and I shared this with Kristen, a few other people that my church, my pastor, who I have become friends with, actually used me in one of the sermons for talking about surrender and recovery. And he said, "My friend Johnny, who's got 21 years sober," and it was pretty awesome. And I have friends from church who have joined us on TikTok. I have friends on church who watch these lives when I share them on my personal page. And it's awesome. It's awesome being able to bring my journey of not having a God to suddenly going to church, and being in recovery and being able to share that there and share the love and help others, because everybody needs help everywhere. And if there's somebody in the church that's suffering, I want to be there, and I can't be there if I'm being quiet. And so recovery out loud is very important in church, I think.
Mhm.
Okay, so what's your last question?
What was the moment you realized recovery was more than drinking?
Oh, why are you gonna give me a banger at the very end? When did I realize recovery was more than drinking? It took a long time. It took a long time because it's all I thought about. All I thought about were drinking and drugs, and I thought that being in recovery just meant no more drinking and no more drugs. And it takes a long time to realize, and for my mind to open up to the idea that, oh, this isn't, drinking and drugs are but a symptom. It says that in the book. The problem is up here, and with the choices I make, the decisions I make, my actions and reactions. And so I had a friend, Brian, when I first got sober. I've talked about Brian before. Brian was the coolest guy you ever met in your entire life, with his slick back hair, and he'd put his smokes in his sock so he didn't mess up his pants. He was just cool. And he told me, he says it takes 18 months for the fog to lift. And when I got 18 months sober, I told him, I said, Brian, it's 18 months. I don't think the fog has lifted. He said, give it another 18 months. True story. What about you? When did you realize that it was more than drinking?
Um, when I was in rehab. So I was sober 30 days before I went to rehab, but it was in jail. And I was just hearing what other inmates were saying about being sober, their experiences in rehab, just all sorts of like treatment court, all those options. And I'd never been to rehab and I didn't ever want to go, but I was kind of out of options and had the chance and took the suggestion and went. But when they were, because I was in like a lot of workshops teaching us about different things in the big book and stuff. And I remember going like, I was mad. I was like, why am I just learning about all this now? Every single person on this planet needs to be doing the steps. Like, when I learned about the steps and how it wasn't anything to do with drinking, it was about just fixing my wrongs and being a good person and having a relationship with God and getting like they're giving me a chance to say sorry for all the things I did. Like it was just there's a whole process and directions. They are simple directions. We just like to complicate it. And I think being there, not distracted by anything, because I was saying last night, I was in a live and they were talking about like sponsorship and stuff. And I don't think I could have done it the right way if I didn't go to rehab. Everyone's different. But for me, I had to be removed from all the distractions and just all that because I probably would have ended up with a horrible sponsor and not wanting to do anything they said, or just isolating or something like that. But I didn't have a choice in rehab. And they told me, you do everything we say, you won't have to come back. And they were right. Like, I did everything they said. And it all made sense and it clicked. And I think that's another reason I recover so loud too, is I want the whole world to know that this has nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. We all need to heal. Like, go on my Facebook and see the feed. It's just complaining and depression and people mad at each other, people bashing people. And I'm like, the 12 steps will help all this. So I just think everyone on this earth can benefit from a 12-step program.
I agree wholeheartedly. Did you see in the comments who won the second hat?
She did.
Brandy Harris won the second half. Mike
deserved
sent,
it.
Mike sent us a text message. Fun dip, Brandy wins. So Brandy, congratulations on winning the second hat. We have one more hat we're going to give away. The winner of this one is the one who comes up with the best question. Mike, you've been in here. Have you read any questions? Whose question was the best? I'm torn. So Amber asked a question for us. If your recovery journey were a road trip, what song would be blasting as you cross state lines? Isn't that a good question? That's a good question. What's your recovery song? What do you listen to that just says, man, that's it?
Really, like Jelly Roll is like, I found him in rehab 10 years ago. He didn't have a lot of followers or anything, and it was like underground music. And his music's a lot about recovery, and I make a lot of my videos to his music. And I think I would go with the Liar song. Nothing but a liar. Because that booze is a liar.
Look at you guys! You guys got Krista singing on live. You ain't never heard Krista sing on live before.
And I love worship music too. Like anything Brandon Lake, I feel like, because he's got tattoos and stuff, he like helps us kind of get over into the worship side too. So
yeah, I mean, it's recovery music is such a big aspect, and
and Skylar
Ray, who was in here,
his music is number one.
Skylar Ray's music is so awesome. Benjamin Lerner's music is so awesome. There's a Christian singer out there that Joel turned me on to. His name is Brian Joel, and Joel, my buddy Joel Anthony from the Sober Sessions says, Johnny, go check this guy out. He's live right now. And I went and checked him out, and he's playing my favorite Christian song, which is Gratitude. And it's so good and so powerful. But when I talk about recovery, there's a few songs that are really good for and important in my recovery. Clean by Depeche Mode. That's a great one. But I got to go Starting Over by Macklemore. That's the song that I talk about all the time. Being a one-chip wonder, I've never relapsed. And Macklemore wrote a song specifically about his relapse. And he has a song called Other Side that was on his first album that became big in the recovery community up and down the West Coast in all the rehabs, right? And then he relapsed and he felt all the guilt, shame, and remorse, and wrote this song called Starting Over. And when people relapse and they say, oh, we relapsed, it's kind of like the topic for the Zoom meeting last night. They're filled with the guilt, shame, and remorse. But I always tell them they have something that I don't have. They can teach to other people the redemption of coming back. And in the end of Macklemore's song, he says, if I can be an example of getting sober, then I can be an example of starting over. If I can be an example of getting sober, then I can be an example of starting over. Such powerful lyrics that just speak volumes. And anyone who's out there who went and tried it again and found out it still ain't working, they get to teach that to other people. They get to teach them the things that you and I haven't gone through. That's experience, strength, and hope that we don't have. And I want to teach everybody and help everybody everything. But that's one thing that I can't relate to. However, Macklemore gave me that song to help other people, because they are an example. If you can be example of getting sober, you're even bigger example for starting over, because that takes a lot.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot. I don't know if I got it in me. If I went back, I'd come back. So that's why I stay. That's why I stay. I don't got another getting sober in me. Let's see. Have you been reading any questions? Did Mike pick a winner?
I don't know. I did see Marie wants us to go back and comment answers on all the questions we didn't get today. So I will work on that too. After this live ends, I will go back and answer them in the comments. It's not letting me go back.
There is one other one that I saw. Deborah Mason. Deborah, hello, Deborah. Thank you for being here. She asked a really good question. Now I can't find it. Dang it. Oh, how do you cope with the feelings and emotions you have to deal with once you have become okay? So how do you cope with all the feelings and emotions you have to deal with once you become sober? I have a hard time with the guilt that I still carry, and sometimes it makes my recovery hard. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with feelings, but how do you cope with those feelings and emotions that you deal with once you become sober? That's the biggest thing that we talk about. So I don't mind talking about it again.
Yeah. I think prayer is my biggest thing though. I don't have the answers, and it's going to just give me anxiety and make me spiral by trying to figure it out on my own. And that's where the daily surrender comes in. I give it to God and I ask for help. And sometimes I have to ask a human too, but it's really my relationship with God, and He doesn't answer everything right away. But I do get some peace, and also writing too. Maybe writing your prayer down. It's just you got to release it. You're going to explode if you keep all this bottled up inside. And it's the only way I've worked through shame. And I mean, it makes you worry. It's not good. You got to get it off you.
And Deborah Mason, you need to email our friend Mike at Sober Hats, because you have won the third hat. You win the third hat. Mike sent a message, and that question was his favorite question. So that was the winner. So Deborah, email soberhats@gmail.com, and because you've won the third hat. This has been awesome today. This has been so fun, right?
What would our animal mascot be?
What would our animal mascot be? Definitely. Well, I think the Tiger King. Not a tiger, like the actual Tiger King. He would be our animal mascot, because he's crazy and we're crazy.
Like
and
a crazy big cat. Yeah.
And everybody's crazy. But in the next few weeks, we've got some big interviews coming up, and I know one of these weeks we're actually going to do a later edition. Normally we go live at 1:00 Eastern, noon Central, but we're going to do a Wednesday evening and go live at like 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central. For one of the guests that we're going to have on. But we've got a lot of good guests lined up. And I think today was so fun. And so I'm so glad we got to have all of our friends in here and we get to talk about it. And yeah, this was awesome. And all you guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the love and the support. Mike from soberheads.com. Thank you for everything that you do. And Friday is we're gonna do the Halloween costume contest that I get to be the judge for, and I'm bribed easily. And if and whoever wins I'm gonna buy a Recover Out Loud hoodie and it'll have your sobriety date on it, and it's awesome.
And take a picture in your hat and tag soberhats.com.
Just started making recovery videos, so I'm stoked to wear my new hat. Deborah, we're stoked too.
Yay.
Winners, share pics of your hat. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. Thank you for joining us on our journey and allowing us to be on yours. Any questions, comments, concerns, please message Krista.
I'll
Love
be
you.
happy. Love
God,
you guys.
God loves you, so do we. And with that, we're out.
Bye.